things people talk about a desire to be successful, all of the elements. Hello, everybody. Dr. Rick Wallace dropping in on you. I hope everybody's having a blessed week. I hope that you've had a good day up until this point. What I'm going to do here is address a situation, and I'm going to do it as succinctly as I possibly can, and hopefully clarify some things. There's not a whole lot of clarifying I tend to do. I tend to speak what I mean and stand on it, and I try my best to live by what I speak. I'm human, I'm fallible, I don't know it all, I don't have all the answers, but I try to be as well versed, knowledgeable, and experienced in the things that I speak on and stand on as I possibly can, so that I don't have to do a lot of backtracking. But those who have followed me for any stretch of time know that when I do misspeak, I have no problem posting retractions and apologizing. Again, I don't proclaim to know it all, but the things that I do know, I have invested a lot of time in, and quite frankly, I'm a beast at it. I don't expect everybody to follow me. I don't expect everybody to agree with me. In fact, I would be very disappointed if I found myself in a place where everyone agreed with me. That would be a place of compromise and comfort, where the actions I'm taking is more about pleasing everybody than being true to myself. And I don't ever plan to find myself in that place or that position. So I expect people to disagree. I invite people to challenge me. The only thing that I ask when people challenge me is that you do it with respect, because I don't disrespect anybody. I rarely even show up on anybody else's profiles or pages posting or commenting on things. When I do it in a respectful, direct way. And most times I don't stay alone for argumentative dialogue. I may do a few exchanges and then I bow out, because people will understand and perceive things based off of their paradigms. And if they're not looking through the lens I'm looking through, it's going to be extremely difficult for them to see what I see. And so I don't expect people to agree, and I have no problem with people disagreeing with me, but you will not come on my page and talk sideways to me. You will not disrespect other people on my page. You can state your opinions. You can tell me I'm wrong. It's all outdoors. And only to a certain extent will I defend what I've written. I challenge anyone to take what I've written and research the facts and challenge me rationally. And I never get that. I never get people when they are challenging me to challenge me on facts and reason, not on how they feel about something, or not because what I said made them feel uncomfortable or what I said upset them. I'm not here to make you feel comfortable. I'm here to push you beyond the current state of where you're at, your comfort zone. And I do it respectfully, but I don't do it in a place or a position of acquiescing to your desire to be coddled and have your hand held. That's not who I am. But that's not even the primary reason I'm here. I needed to get that out, because if you come on my page showing out, I have no problem checking you. I don't care who you are, where you come from. If you step out of line, I will do everything in my power to make you feel my presence. You will not disrespect me because I haven't disrespected you. If you don't like what I'm saying that much, leave my page. You can block me, or you can just stop reading my posts. There are people on my page. I got 5,000 people on my page. I don't agree with every darn thing they say. I see all kind of crap rolling up my darn gone news feed all day long. I don't run around attacking people because their views are different than mine. I understand and respect them. If I feel like I want to drop in and share my perspective because it may add something to the conversation, I do so. There's some things when I look at it and I'm extremely in objection to what's posted, but I know what I'm going to share won't add anything to the conversation. Minds are made up and people are locked in, and nothing I share is going to do anything but make them more hostile and aggressive and then put me in a situation where I have to check somebody. So I know how to keep it moving. Here's my thing. The one thing that will not work for me on this thing going on and moving forward with any type of black woman, but right now we're talking specifically about Kamala Harris. One thing that will not work with me is the you're tearing down a black woman argument. Here's why it won't work. Follow me for the last 15 years plus. Check my life, period. I have not been perfect. I've made some poor decisions in relationships, but as a general rule, I treat women with respect. Over the last 15 years, you're going to find it hard to find a male advocate for black women that has been more vocal and more focused and more active in the community in helping black women than yours truly. How I met my wife was actually helping black women deal with past trauma. She came to me as a part of something I was doing at the time in program. I worked with her for a year. She went her way, I went my way, but I looked at her and I knew that woman was going to be my wife. And my wife will tell you, I literally will stop and go to the defense of a black woman. I will stop and I will help black women. Here's another thing. I have been criticized because I won't tell the truth about a couple of my exes that do everything in their power to talk down on me. And people who know me and know the truth are upset. Bro, why don't you tell it? Because it does me no good to attack. I know who I am. I live my life every day. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. I've made some decisions I'm not proud of. But as a general rule, when you put everything together, I am okay with the legacy I've built through the actions I've taken on a collective. So I let my grandmother taught me when I was 9, son, let the life you live speak for you. Stop thinking you got to defend yourself against every accusation. Stop thinking you got to defend yourself against every situation. Let the life you live speak for you. She would actually be upset that I'm even doing this video. But here's what I can tell you. I literally have programs at the Odyssey Project. Look up, Google the Odyssey Project 21. Go to my site. Look at the programs I do. Look how tied into protecting black women. Look at the articles and the papers I've written. Look at what I've called for in the papers. Or look at my research and look at how much I voice the need to cover and protect black women. So if and when the rare moment I come out and I state facts about a particular black woman, you got to understand it's definitely not coming from a place of wanting to tear a black woman down. I want to see a black woman sit in the presidency. Actually, I have no problem, but I'm not one that was willing to put any black woman in there as if just because you say she's a black woman, there's this level of purity that comes along with it to the point that she can't even be held accountable and called out on the things she's done. Nobody has come to me and said, Doc, what you posted about her was untrue, was not factual. Nobody's coming at. Nobody can challenge it because it actually happened. My thing is you got to decide based on that, what are you going to do? If you can look at it and say, despite what she's done, the same way you did with Joe Biden, despite that he did X, Y, Z, 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 I'm still voting for him. If you can't do that about her, what's the problem then? My thing is, if you're going to vote for him no matter what, you shouldn't matter about what I say. But if you're actually looking for the truth, then you've got to sit up and say, okay, I've got to at least look at this. Man, it doesn't make me feel good. See, that's cognitive dissonance. When something you're feeling is challenged by something else that you can't easily dismiss, the easy thing to do is actually attack the messenger than to have to deal with the message. That's why every time, go look at my page. Look at my page and look at the page, the posts that have to do with her. There are posts I ain't even mention her, and people are still jumping on it, getting pissed off, talking about I'm tearing down. We ain't even talking about her. We're talking about voting and the value of the vote and how you preserve the value of the vote. Where in the hell you get her from? She's not even in this. But that's how emotional we've gotten. That's how emotional we've gotten, is that everything is perceived as an assault. Everything is perceived. See, the thing is, what gets me is this too. It's been open season on Donald Trump since before he was elected. Everybody's letting him have it. And I admit, dude makes it easy with some of the bull crap he does and says. I'm not a fan of Donald Trump. I wouldn't vote for Donald Trump if somebody had a gun to my head. But that don't mean I'm going to go vote for somebody else because they're not him. Literally think about it. I'm voting for them because they don't have to pull. Oh, Rael, she hasn't referred to herself as a black woman. She was sworn in into her Senate as the first Indian American woman to be sworn into the U.S. Senate. So she doesn't acknowledge her blackness, despite all these black people claiming her and wanting to fight for her. She's actually listed as a Caucasian on her birth certificate. I've never even brought all that bull crap up. To me, that's anecdotal bullshit. I'm talking about things that she's actually done that has negatively impacted my people, that she was made aware of and knew what she was doing at the time. Those are the things I'm speaking of. Same thing with Joe Biden. And no, when did we get so far down the moral pole the pole of morality and ethics that the way we justify the wrongs of others is to compare them to the wrongs of someone else? When did we stop demanding that the people that stand before us as leaders live by a certain moral and ethical code, and that they stand on that, meaning that I don't have to compare them to anybody? I should be able to look at their behavior and determine based off of their behavior, their character. And based off of their character, whether I want to stand with them, whether I want to support them or not. Why is it every time I bring up something about Joe Biden or I bring up something about Kamala Harris, the first thing out of people's mouths is, well, what do you rather have them or you have Trump? The whole idea, think about this. I want to think about this from a state of purity. I want you to think about this from a state of purity, from a state of from a state of purity and everything. When did we get to this point that we are going to actually sit up and choose somebody with nothing whatsoever to judge them on, or we don't want to judge them on their past, because then that forces us to have to really grapple with some character issues, some character flaws. We have to sit up and wonder deeply about who they are. And so the idea is the lesser of two evils. Now back to this purity thing. When did we get to a point where the lesser of two evils served anything good? Evil is evil regardless. You cannot get evil to return to you anything of good standing. So because I leave one evil situation and I move to another evil situation, evil will just look differently, be spoken differently, and carried out differently, but it will be evil. You cannot get good out of evil. The lesser of two evils never produced anything positive or powerful. It simply doesn't. Never has it produced anything of power. What happened to saying, if I'm going to get behind you, if I'm going to rock with you, there's got to be some things I can see in you that express a quality I can trust. But if your behavior does not show or is not indicative of being trustworthy, just because you're not the person that I don't like or the person I believe is screwing me over now, doesn't give you access. When I left my last ex, I wasn't looking for someone just better than she was. I wasn't looking for someone that didn't do this to me or didn't do that to me, but still had certain things that I knew I couldn't. I was looking for someone whose character said, I'm not perfect, but I will love you. And in that love is expressive of all things beneficial and benevolent, and that I will never purposely cause you harm. That was what I was looking for. That was the standard by which I am setting in order to have this person. And it shouldn't be any different for anybody else that I'm going to personally decide will play a role in my life. I can't determine, I can't determine what anybody else votes, but if I'm going to have a say so, the person that I'm going to stand behind is going to be able to have my trust. I'm not going to say just because you don't talk like that, or just because you don't do that, or just because you show your racism differently, I'm going to rock with you. I can deal with you. You're more palatable. Here's the thing. Democrats have been more palatable for the last 60 years. Show me where blacks have gained progress. They talk to us. They smooth us over on one side while ripping us apart on the other. And we like it because they don't talk as direct and take as direct actions. But the same thing, the right wing and the left wing belong to the same bird, and that bird has been shitting on us since 1619. Until we get an understanding that operating within the two-party structure is never going to work for us, because both sides are built to protect a specific thing, and that thing is the same thing regardless of the side that you look at it. It's the same thing, and we are not a part of it. We're never going to win that way. Now, once again, back to this thing. You're tearing down a black woman thing is never going to work on me. Why? Because I've spent my life building up black women. I have programs in my organization that I personally funded that serve black women. It's hard to get to see me at any time speak ill or talk down a black woman. So when you see me speak, first of all, you got to understand that I'm talking about a woman who hasn't even openly claimed her blackness, that has done everything she can to separate herself from her blackness. She has only allowed herself to be associated with blackness when it has benefited her political career. Her social life doesn't reflect blackness. Her marriage doesn't reflect blackness. Her parenting doesn't reflect blackness because they chose to list her as a Caucasian child. Her dad, though having Jamaican ties, claims his Irish heritage. It was Neely Fuller Jr. that stood up and said that you have to give a great deal of gravity to sex. And as simple as sex may seem, you have to understand the force of sex. Why? Because who we sleep with impacts our thinking. See, I didn't just enter this dance. I didn't just show up and start slanging insults and all of the stuff that comes at me. I've spent 30 plus years gaining knowledge. And like I said, let me put it this way, and then I'm done. Let me Brian Howard, man, you speaking right now. Let me bring something to your attention. See, a lot of y'all just found out about Kamala Harris a few years ago when she became a senator and she started doing those committee hearings, interviews, and, you know, being a former prosecutor, she can be a tough interviewer. And so y'all like that. It was a good show. First of all, go back and show me what was done after those hearings, after she ripped people up and made them look bad and everybody was clapping her and Cory Booker. They were just doing their thing. What changed? Now, let me tell you how long I've known her. I've known her for over 11 years. You know why? The most devastating thing that I can think of outside of my blood relatives passing away or getting hurt or getting killed happened in January 1st, 2009. A young man by the name of Oscar Grant was riding the rapid transit home after going to a fireworks show and was on the dock of a train station, and a fight broke out. He tried to break up the fight, got caught up in the melee, and was held and detained, handcuffed, and he was sitting down, and he started to protest being held, being that he wasn't one of the people who were actually fighting. He was trying to break it up. Cops came over, got belligerent, and he got put down on his back, face down, with handcuffs behind his back, and a cop shot him in his back and killed him. That was the first time I ever saw a cop kill a person on film and then have it repeated over and over and over again. I don't even look at them no more. I can't even look at them anymore. I stopped that about 4 years ago. I can't do it anymore. It just tore me up some. But that was the first time I saw it. And then Kamala Harris was the woman responsible for prosecuting the cop. That cop got less than a year. So it put Kamala Harris dead in my crosshairs. Just a little bit later, a young lady named Matrice Richardson was arrested, well, taken into custody because she was acting erratic at a restaurant. And it was determined that she was obviously suffering from a bipolar situation. And so she was taken to the county jail where she was released in the middle of the night, I think somewhere around 2 a.m., and she disappeared. Almost a year later, they found her body in some canyon way off somewhere, no roads, no trails to it. They found her nude body. And there was this outcry for justice in making the sheriff's department accountable, while ultimately the sheriff's department ended up paying, I think, $900,000 in total to her parents. Justice was never brought. Nobody was ever held accountable for it, and there was a cry for it. Kamala Harris at the time was the state's attorney general. She refused to look at it at first, but after a lot of pressure was applied, she looked at it but dismissed it, and now the case is still open. This young lady should have never been released. Her car had been impounded. Her phone and her wallet was in her car. Now, this is the same station that after Mel Gibson got arrested for DUI in California, after he got arrested and he was released, they gave him a ride to his vehicle. But they put a 22-year-old girl with no phone, no car, out in the dark in the middle of the night. She's found nude. They moved the body before the medical examiner can get there. Matter of fact, they did such a poor job that her mom, while visiting the site, finds one of her fingers, one of her finger bones. Can you imagine the trauma? Kamala Harris had the ability to make a more impactful impression upon that case. It's a lot of people that are skating under what's really happening there. And let's not get to the actual incarceration of people. Incarcerating black mothers because their children are truant. One issue, the little girl was truant because she had sickle cell anemia and had to often visit the doctor. And anybody who knows about sickle cell anemia know it's extremely painful. And when you are having an episode, you are not going to school. That woman, that little girl's mother was jailed because she was truant. It was something she insisted on no matter what somebody told. And who do you think are going to be most affected by those type of policies? The impoverished and the blacks. I can go on and on about 2 death row inmates who had evidence that was in the hands of Kamala Harris that they were innocent, and she withheld it until they were executed. What's crazy is I would think that there would be a law that makes that so illegal that she would end up going to prison. But no, she becomes a U.S. senator. And I can go on and on and on about policies practiced. I'm not talking about how I feel about her. I'm talking about facts. If you don't like what I'm saying about her, deal with the facts. Deal with the facts. Again, you're not going to shake me or move me off my space or my square talking about me tearing down a black woman when my whole world is about building them up. I got 8 daughters that I lift up and build up every day. I got a wife who I love and build up every day. I married black, and anybody that knows me knows I cut for black. I teach boys in Black Men Lead. The first darn gone principle of black manhood is never do black women any harm. So if I'm sitting up and I'm actually talking about something that a woman did, It's got to be deep, it's got to be strong, and it's got to be that she's more than just a threat to me. Because in the way that I've handled people that's close to me, like I said at the beginning of the thing, I got people who are upset with me because I won't actually tell the truth about things my exes did, because it will put me in a better light of how people, I don't care what people feel about me. I live my life every day, and I'm going to let the life I live speak for me. But I won't put my exes in a bad situation. I've got kids by them. Their kids will never be able to, my kids will never be able to find out why I talk down on their mom. They'll see what they did it to me, but they'll never see that. That's how much I hold black women in regard. So if I'm telling you something about a black woman, it's not because I'm afraid of her. It's because I'm afraid of what she's going to do to my people, who I put above myself. There's another one, Isaiah West. That's another one. She has said many times she's against the death penalty, but she literally appealed a decision that would have overturned some death penalties in the state of California. I mean, over and over again, she's bounced. What killed her presidential campaign is that she couldn't be nailed down on Medicaid for all and her policies on criminal justice reform. You're saying one thing, but your actions spoke something totally different. That should be something everybody should want her to answer. Even if you're thinking about voting for her, you've got to want her to answer it in a way that you can actually make it make sense. You can't sit up and say, I'm voting for you because you're not that person. Now I'm really starting to understand why we have a 50% divorce rate. Because if we choose our mates the way we choose our politicians, it's no wonder. We're not looking for someone we hold in high regard and high standard. We're just looking for somebody that ain't pissing us off the way the current person pissing us off. That is something that we've got to get together. If you're going to vote for them, you need to be people. You need to be a part of a group. Let me explain to you how it's done. If you're saying, okay, it's got to be Biden because I just can't deal with Trump. That's your take on it. Let me tell you what you should be doing. If you're truly about a better situation for yourself and people like you, not just trying to execute a mechanism so that you can express your hatred against Trump. Because a lot of you, it ain't even about getting a good president. It's just about showing Trump that he ain't nothing. It's about getting back at Trump because he shouldn't have even been president. He didn't deserve the presidency. Bots put him in. Russians put him in. It's so caught up in that you're not seeing that this thing goes beyond his 4 years or his 8 years. And it's right now looking like 8 years because the Dems don't have anything but I'm not Trump. Tell me what else they're running on. Oh, Biden said he's going to, when he gets in, his primary focus as far as a pet project is the LGBTQ community. Okay, that he said that. Kamala Harris has been on record as saying, why would she say she's going to do something specifically for black people? Because anything that'll benefit black people will benefit everybody. So why would I say I'm going to do anything beneficial for specifically for black people? Shit, Trump doing shit specifically for certain people that he made promises to. He's blowing the whole I'm the president of everybody thing clearly out the water. He executing, ordering the hell out of shit. And looking at it. And then what makes it even worse, neither side, Republican or Democrat, could actually deal with this cascading issue of the economic system and the fallout of COVID and how many people don't have jobs. These son of a bitches, excuse me, I'm at that place now. These son of a bitches took a vacation for 30 days on my dime because I pay taxes. On my dime, they took a vacation for 30 days while deciding if we could get some of our money back. Think about this system and why I feel the way I feel about it. They literally sit up and said, well, we'll be back in September. Y'all figure what y'all gonna do until then. People are gonna lose their homes before they get back. People are going to be evicted before they get back. People are gonna lose their cars before they get back. People are gonna struggle with a bunch of different things that are directly tied to the benefits they were getting from unemployment until things could get better. There aren't jobs to go back to. Republicans said we don't want to incentivize not working. First of all, you got to create jobs before you can push that agenda. You got to understand that businesses have closed. Places that I have been going to for years are no longer open. This is what I'm talking about. I could see if every time you look up, I'm like some people I've seen, that they're saying negative stuff about black women. Check my YouTube channel. And every time anybody with any type of voice that could go viral or actually get any playing time said something negative about a woman, I went dead at them. Way back when Trick Daddy said what he had to say about black women, I went after him. This basketball player for the Clippers, I went after him. Kodak Black, I went after him. This other cat recently that came up and said, anytime somebody has said anything about negative women, especially within the comparison of a white woman, I have dived dead on their ass. So if I'm sitting up and giving you facts about a black woman, it's because I've seen something that tells me she's not for us. No, the DNC never asked what we want because they feel they got us in their pocket. That's the thing. That's the whole point I was making with the post about the value of the vote, is that when you are automatically predisposed to giving your vote to a certain person, what motivation do they have to give you anything in return? Your kids will become entitled and take you for granted if all you do is for them and you never demand that they do anything to uphold their end of the bargain in the home. If they have no chores, if they have nothing that is required of them, they're not required to have good grades. They're not required to do chores. They're not required to be respectful. They will take you for granted and you will have absolutely no respect or authority in your own home. You have a responsibility to yourself, to your family, to your people, to hold those who will be representing you accountable for their behavior. You cannot act in fear. You can't sit up and get all caught up in your emotions. You are going to have to stand up and say, you know what? I really want to see a black woman in the White House. I understand. I want to see it too. Just symbolically for me, because I understand the role of that seat in the White House. It's a vassal seat. There's so much behind what goes on in politics that goes beyond what's in that seat. But just for the sake of just saying, I know it's pissing off a bunch of white folks. You know, I still have that part of me that even though I knew Barack Obama didn't have my people's interests back, it was fun watching him piss white people off. I admit it. I could, and I would love to see a black woman in there. I would love to see a black woman actually run for president. But I will not endorse anybody that has shown me that they will harm my people. And I have a right to share what I know. What you do with it is solely up to you. But you will not shame me. You will not shame me into backing down off of holding anyone that's supposed to be representing me accountable. On that note, look, I'm going to get off of here. I wasn't planning on staying this long. And I hope that, those of you who are holding Kamala accountable, those of you that are pulling receipts, keep doing it. There are those who are paying attention. Those are the ones you're trying to reach. Find your tribe. Get with people with like minds. My thing isn't about tearing anybody down, but I don't believe that anybody should just be given something solely because they're black or solely because they're a woman and we want to see history made. She's climbed so many different ladders playing that card when it was beneficial and then throwing it in her purse at the bottom of her purse when she didn't need it. And we have to be the one to say the buck stops here. You're going to handle black business. Show me how you're going to handle it. Not only tell me what you're going to do for me, but tell me how I can measure it. Tell me how I can count it and see that you're doing it. Tell me how I can hold you accountable for it. Until someone can do that, they don't get my vote. My vote is that important to me that I'm going to spend it on something that's valuable to me. I'm not going to give it to somebody just because it's either me or them. Think about it. That's what they've given you. They've given you two choices. On that note, I'm going to get ready to get out here. You guys have an unbelievable day. Hello, everybody. Dr. Rick Wallace here, dropping in with a little special announcement. For those who have followed me for any stretch of time, you know, outside of the businesses that I run, like Myriad Business Solutions, the Visionetics Institute, Odyssey Media Group, I also do a great deal of work inside of the inner city communities in Houston, Dallas, and other areas. I'm asking now, as we push a fundraiser, that you support what the Odyssey Project is doing in the inner cities, especially with programs like Black Men Lead, which is a rite of passage initiative, and Restoring Ghetto's Forgotten Daughters, which is a program focused on helping young girls, but boys as well, suffering from childhood sexual abuse, rape, molestation, domestic abuse, absentee fatherhood, and so many other things. The information will be in the box. Thank you.
From a conceptual perspective, people talk about a design that makes sense. All of the elements